So Transformers fans, Mondo here, back with another Moonbase 84 transmission. Well, we checked out the Wild King Megatron and Captain Volca set, so now it's time to check out the Wild King Optimus Prime and Lightlong set. But as always, before we do, if you could hit the like button, subscribe if you're new, and all that jazz, we'd really appreciate it. Okay, let's get into checking out some more Wild King. Now, I mentioned in the Megatron review that I really did like the packaging that Takara Tomy uses for these Wild King toys, and the Prime is no different, just a big color splash. Of course, some Japanese I don't understand, but it's still very artistic. This set is WKS01. I didn't mention, I think the Megatron says WKS02. Get it? Image of Prime and Lightlong combined, and then their individual pictures. More Prime and Lightlong here. It's the same on the side. You get, it's hard to fit in my review station, what you get in this set with both characters. And on the back you get another image of Prime and Lightlong combined with the figures, and I would assume some flavor text. Okay, so I'm gonna pop these guys open so we can check them out. So here's Optimus Prime and Lightlong in their alt modes. In the package, they are in robot modes. They come in a nice tray with no little annoying like twisties or anything you gotta break apart, and their accessories. Just plop them out of the tray and you're good to go. And I will say once again, for a kids line, because this is supposed to be Takara's kids line, and it is their kids line, I shouldn't say supposed to be. It's really good, man. And if this is what they wanted, if this is what they came up with for a kids line, I would love to see what they would do if they were just out on their own to come up with a Transformers line, or maybe work with Hasbro like they did back in the day with the Unicron trilogy. Because if this is what they're giving kids in Japan, man, I'm all for it. I mean, these are really cool. I said it about the Megatron. We're going to take a look at Lightlong first. And the Energy Beasts are cool to me because they're all the same exact in engineering. I didn't look close enough to see if they shared any parts, but it's the same base, kind of almost like the same base body. Maybe the torso area is the same. It's just the same engineering basically with different parts to make different animals, and I think that's really cool. It's simplistic. Some of us older people or collectors might not like that, but I love it. And here is Lightlong up close. He's got his cool little giraffe head. I did look to make sure his jaw didn't open, like I made the mistake with Captain Volca. His head does look up, down, not too much articulation, but and his long neck looks down, and then you get some play at the legs and things like that. But yeah, he's a cool little giraffe. I'm liking the colors, the yellows, that greenish brown with the grays and some hits of silver. His tail articulates too, if you want to do that. Mine is really tight, and it's a plug-in piece because it's actually his weapon, so it likes to pop off. But yeah, nice little giraffe. He does have his element power badge sigil, I forget what they call them, which is lightning on the front. And then moving on to Prime, we have once again a very hefty, chunky truck mode. Gives them a little bit of an off-road vibe. I wish they went a little bit more off-road with him, because they are in the woods and nature, Wild King, and that's so far where they've spent all their time in the show, which makes sense. Maybe like a brush guard or something would have looked really cool. But for what it is pretty cool. Like I said, nice and meaty. You can see he has his axe on the side for weapon storage. And it's just blue plastic. Getting a lot of glare with some silver around the blade. Pretty basic, but there is some nice tech detail in there. Taking a look at the truck mode itself, you have some yellows for the windscreen and for the headlights, hit of silver for the grille, some nice panel work, some more yellow around the side, and of course his traditional reds and blues. Hits of silver here we will see more of in robot mode, and he rolls really nicely. That was one of the shames on Megatron. It didn't bother me too much. I said in the review it didn't bother me, but he doesn't roll. But Prime rolls really nicely. Very anime look, and you'll see that more in robot mode with Prime. So next, obviously, I started in alt modes because to get to their combination mode, you need them in robot mode. So I'll transform these guys up into robot modes, and we'll take a look at that, their individual modes, and then we'll do some wild docking. So here we have Prime and Light Long transformed up into the robot modes, and we will take a look at Light Long first. So, I struggle with the name Light Long. I keep on wanting to say Lifelong or Long Rack, because as you can see, if you're familiar with Long Rack from Beast Wars Neo, he does look a lot like him, apart from being the only other giraffe transformer that I know of. But yeah, he definitely evokes a lot of Long Rack, which makes me wonder if they wanted to call him Long Rack but couldn't due to maybe some trademark issues. I'm not sure. As you can see, I have his tail plugged into his hand, which is now an axe weapon. And speaking of that, let's go ahead and take that out. It's really strange because the peg on that, for one, the peg isn't a rounded peg. It has this little, like, outcropping, I guess you call it, which is weird that they didn't just go with a round peg. But it's cast in the same color as parts of Light Long's body. We saw that in draft mode anyway. And it's weird because here are his hands. You can see the hits of silver, but then the rest of the giraffe leg sticks out. I really wish they engineered like this to fold so it wouldn't look as strange. I know concessions were made because this is the kids line, but yeah, I think it would have looked nicer if that flipped. But he does have a nice robot mode, much cleaner than Long Rack. No kibble hanging off or anything. As you go around the back, you do see some gray, of course the yellow, that greenish brown we talked about, his elemental badge on his chest, and you can put it on either side. Put it that way too if you like it better that way. The instructions say to put it that way, I just had it that way. And of course, much like Long Rack, he has the giraffe head on one of his shoulders. And if I can flip it out, oh, I can. This comes out for like a blaster, which then you can put the giraffe head into Light Long's head and have like a giraffe head cannon. We'll go ahead and put that back up here. Articulation, very similar because the engineering's all the same as Captain Volca. If you saw that review, his shoulder will hit himself in the head. No head articulation because of the transformation. It does swivel at the elbow and does have the elbow. He does have the waist very tight on Light Long, almost said Long Rack again. He kicks forward, back, does the splits, and then you got a thigh rotation just above the knee. So basically knee rotation. And because of transformation, a knee that goes all the way back to hit his back. And no foot articulation of any kind or ankle. But yeah, pretty cool. Nice little robot mode. My little gripe aside about that, I think it would just have looked nicer, but they all the energy beasts share pretty much the same engineering, so they're not going to go, I don't think, and add hinges to Light Long. Now we get to Prime. So now let's take a look at Optimus Prime in robot mode. Here we have his axe. We did look at that in vehicle mode, but now he has the piece that expands his helmet, makes his helmet bigger for his powered up mode when he combines onto the axe and make it a little bit more menacing. Prime himself, I really like. I like him better in person. I ended up liking him better in person than I thought I would like when I first saw the actual product images. I thought he would look a little play schooly. He might a little bit, but no, maybe a little bit, but to me it's more of like an anime feel in person, which is cool. Much like I said with Megatron, I do love his head, and that does look very anime to me. You get a hit of silver on the crest. You get the nice blue eyes and silver mouth plate. I really like them on both of them. I really like the head sculpt. Of course, you get the yellow windows. Very Optimus Prime-esque yellow. We saw that in the truck. down to the waist, which has a grill-like feature. You get the hits of yellow on the legs, that nice silver that we saw in truck mode. I mean, he's traditional. This is a very traditional Optimus Prime. Oh, that goes down like that. He even transforms mostly like a traditional Optimus Prime. Very clean in the back. And like Megatron, the only really super hollow bits are in the forearms. I almost didn't notice them because for some reason to me it got lost in the red. Articulation wise is where he, just to cut to the chase, is not quite as good as Megatron. Megatron pretty much was only missing like foot articulation, ankle articulation. Prime is missing another point which holds him back as compared to Megatron, but his head does swivel. He does the T. Now, even more so than Megatron, I suggested pushing up when you bend so his forearm doesn't pop off, because it's supposed to be for the combination. And then he does have knee or elbow swivel. See, it even popped up. Also on my copy, they're really tight. But if you don't push, they pop off very easily. Also, this likes to snap into place, but if you want articulation, upper chest articulation again, similar to Megatron. Oh, he's missing 2 points that Megatron had. He doesn't have a wrist like Megatron did. Seeing that's popping off again. Anytime you put any kind of pressure without pushing up on these forearms, on my copy at least, they like to pop off, because I'm sure they did that so kids could easily take them off. Going back, he does do the kick forward, plus my copy, like I said, is really tight. Kicks back and he splits. Second point of articulation he's missing. He doesn't have any kind of thigh swivel. I checked. So he doesn't have the wrists, thighs, or feet, which holds him back compared to Megatron, because Megatron was only missing the feet. So that is kind of a shame that they couldn't engineer in like a thigh swivel or a wrist swivel. And I know, again, I say this is their kids line, so you know, it's not, they didn't purposely design them to be super articulated, but Megatron had it. I think they should have given it to Prime as well, so it holds Prime back a little bit in my book. So now all there's left to do is to combine Light Long with Prime, so he can be Lightning Optimus Prime, like what they call him in the show. Quickly, before we combine Light Long and Prime, I wanted to show that unlike Megatron, you can store Prime's forearm in his leg without doing a leg combination. With Megatron, unfortunately, you can only store Megatron's forearm in Megatron's leg if you were to do a leg combination with one of the energy beasts. That just should snap like that, and now you don't have to worry about losing his forearm. So let's get him, now that he's ready, all combined up. First, we're going to take Light Long, all prepped and ready to go. And take the 2 ports here, plug them into these pegs, like so. Make sure it's on frame. Then you want to take the draft head. The instructions show to flip this out for the combination. You don't have to, this piece, but I'm going to, because that's what the instructions show. You have to flip the pegs so it goes from a single to a double. Plug it into here. Very tight on this copy. There we go. Then we can go ahead and flip down his chest. Now on Prime it's really cool. Megatron's had a lot of nice color, but I like on Prime's how it's kind of like, you got the gold and the blue, it kind of looks like a matrix. But then you're going to take the lightning element badge, because Light Long is lightning, and power up Prime. And yeah, again, there's some nice details in silver, some nice paint work in there. So now Prime is all powered up and combined. Well, I think it's cool. On Megatron, I noticed that after the review, how at first this just looks like just a boxy mess, but if you look, The parts of silvery gray parts of Light Long do make it look like a fist, which I think is cool. And then you can actually plug in Prime's axe. Again, that weird port, like Light Long's tail, instead of just being like a circle. Just an odd shape. You can plug in his axe, and you can plug in, actually in this hand or this hand, you can plug in Light Long's axe. I believe very tight. Yes, you can. And then in the show itself, this came out from somewhere. The instructions don't show it, but he did use this in the show. So I'm not sure. Oh, I just popped. Oh, I'm an idiot. Prime's axe has this piece, which goes behind Prime, like we mentioned earlier, to power up, you know, give him a more powered up look in the head. And now, oh, maybe, no. This, even on Light Long's normal spot, there we go. You can do that. It looks tiny. I think in the show he does that once. But yeah, you can do that. I think it looks better with the regular axe. So we'll go ahead and do that. That's just, the tolerances are off on that, making it kind of tight. And of course you get the swivel. Make sure this is plugged in. They like to pop out. Again, I think it's for kids can pop them apart and plug the parts in easy. And then of course you still get the swivel. You don't get an elbow, but just like Megatron, if you want a parts form, you can. Oh, well, maybe you can't on Prime because of the way. You can't on Prime. No, because on Megatron you can do it here. Well, let's swivel this. Let's do this. Let's get those swiveled around like so. Come back to here. Yes, and now you can plug it in and give them an elbow. I mean, you wouldn't want to keep the axe like that, obviously, because it looks goofy. Very tight. I don't like this port system they're using for the axe weapons with this set. Just go with the shape of all the other ports instead of this type. They're very tight and just bothering me. You can use Light Long's articulation to make the fist move up though, which looks kind of weird, but you can do that. So there you have it, Prime all powered up with Light Long, and I think he looks really cool, very anime, and I'm so glad that he doesn't look as like play school as the product shots had me believe. Just more anime, which is cool because he's from an anime, and I just love in here the colors, the gold, the blue really pop, and he just looks like a strong Optimus Prime with only one energy beast. So it's going to be cool to pick up other energy beasts and continue powering him up. And for a comparison, here he is with Megatron, and they look really awesome together. Really cool looking set of figures. Now, of course, you can do more with this set. I'm not going to show it now. I did demonstrate with Megatron, but of course you can turn Light Long into a leg for Prime. Just weird, being one-legged like that makes him too tall and awkward. So of course we're not going to do that, but all the energy beasts, this whole system with the energy masters and energy beasts is like Scramble City. Any energy beast can become an arm or a leg. Another really cool thing you can do if you have both the Prime and Megatron is give Prime Megatron's arm and cannon, well, at least his forearm and cannon, IDW style, and that is awesome. I think that's really cool. Because of the modular nature of these toys, you can do it. So you can IDW, no, Skybound. Oh man, it's been a day. Skybound style. That is awesome that you can do that. Just more play value. So that, my friends, is our look at the Transformers Wild King Energy Master Optimus Prime and Energy Beast Light Long set. Now, with Prime, he has some things that make him not as good as the Megatron, that like I mentioned throughout the review. His lack of articulation points that Megatron had holds him back slightly, but still he maintains the fun play pattern. I love the look of Light Long. Really cool to have another giraffe in the Transformers line. And Prime himself looks really good, so all my fears of him looking like a play school figure were unfounded. He comes off instead as very anime, which is perfect because, as I said, he comes from an anime show. He looks really awesome and really cool, all powered up, combined with Light Long. And much like Megatron in his base robot mode, he looks really cool too. It's just a shame that he has the lack of those articulation points, because with the Megatron, I had said that it would have been cool if they could have engineered in some ankle tilt and foot rock, and he would have been fully articulated pretty much. But with Prime, they took a step back and didn't give us any thigh rotation or wrist. So I wish he at least had the thigh rotation and the wrist. So that holds him down a bit. Still, really fun, you know, just like the Megatron, really fun play pattern, really cool Prime. There were just some missteps. So to me, I do like the Megatron a bit better, just because he has some more functionality in the articulation department. With that being said, I cannot wait for my leaf back and hydrofont to come in. They're currently on their way from Japan, and when they do, we'll check those out and add them to our Energy Masters here and give them a check, and you know, and check out how they look and continue powering up Prime and Megatron. With that being said, until next time, thanks for docking.